Take a look at these pictures. Now, pick the one that scares you the most. Really try to visualize yourself alone with each of these people. Imagine that you're walking down a dark alleyway. Who would creep you out the most if you saw them walking towards you? If you were in an elevator, who would you least want to be trapped alone with? Essentially, which one gives off the creepiest vibes, or makes you feel the most disgusted and repulsed? Take a moment and decide, and be sure to remember your choice. Chosen? Well, those 8 faces were real-life mental patients that Sondi himself was treating. Each of these patients suffered with a different condition. Sondi believed that whichever face you picked reveals something about your personality. Not just anything about your personality, though. The part of you that you supposedly repress, or at least try to deny about yourself. Either you've pushed these feelings and desires deep down into your unconscious mind, or you simply refuse to accept that these character traits are a part of you, and act in opposition towards them. It's important to note that whichever result you get, it doesn't mean you have a mental condition, just that you potentially have hidden impulses that you subconsciously compensate for. Most people seem to find the results of this test accurate, though obviously, take them with a pinch of salt. Anyway, let's go over them here quickly. Picture 1. The Sadist. If you chose this picture, you likely had to deal with some strict authoritarian figures in your childhood. As a result, you've likely repressed the need to dominate others, having been dominated so much in your formative years. You're probably a very peaceful and friendly person, and like to make others feel comfortable in your presence. All that being said, you probably respond with passive aggressiveness whenever you feel like someone's trying to dominate you. That's your special way of indirectly punishing them. Deep inside, you may actually enjoy seeing others suffer, either physically or emotionally. Though, on a conscious level, you do your best to try and ignore these thoughts whenever they surface. Picture 2. The Epileptic. You likely feel emotions very intensely, whether they be good or bad. Since you were taught in childhood that acting in certain ways is not okay, you refuse to let these negative feelings, such as anger, impulsiveness, and irritability, manifest. As such, you likely wear a strong emotional mask, and are very good at not letting others see how you're feeling when these negative emotions begin to bubble under the surface. You probably compensate by acting very meek and friendly in your day-to-day interactions, and other people probably see you as reliable and peaceful. In stressful situations, however, you may finally lose your self-control and explode at others. They likely never expect this, since nobody views you as the type to lash out. Picture 3. The Catatonic. You're most likely a very intelligent person with a hyperactive mind. Well, that doesn't sound so bad, right? Here's the trade-off. In an attempt to avoid losing touch with reality and control over your overactive brain, you've likely become very dutiful, inhibited, and rule-driven. You're probably also oblivious to the physical and emotional needs of yourself and others, and likely feel very disconnected and, potentially, lost. Picture number 4. The Schizophrenic. Her gaze is vacant and impassive. If you selected this woman, then you're likely repressing apathy towards others, and probably struggle to form connections with people. Relating with others is also challenging for you, maybe even relating with yourself. As a result, your relationships lack depth. To compensate, you're most likely very sociable, and spend a lot of time with friends and family. This is probably in an effort to mask your inner sense of isolation and loneliness. Picture 5. The Hysteric. You're probably repressing attention-seeking tendencies. You were likely told to stop showing off as a child, either by adults or your peers, and as such, you're probably quite a modest and reserved person now. Deep down, you love being in the spotlight and charming others, and though you're rarely the center of attention, You get a real buzz when you are. You're the kind of person who pays close attention to detail, as can be seen by the amount of effort you put into your physical appearance. This could be your subconscious self showing off, while your conscious self continues to act modestly. Picture 6. The depressive. On the surface, you probably appear happy and bubbly, the kind of person who doesn't have a care in the world. That's the side of you show to other people, at least. Beneath it all, you may struggle with a nagging feeling of worthlessness. You may even feel self-loathing and guilt. You probably try and take your mind off this by focusing on work and other people. Low self-esteem is also associated with this choice. If this is you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a depressed person, but that you have a predisposition to negative emotions. Picture 7. The maniac. You're most probably a very logical, reasonable, and collected individual. You favor balance, and aren't a fan of chaotic or excessive displays of emotion. You're likely annoyed when people are too loud, or hold too strong a belief. That's because, inside, you're likely repressing hyperactive tendencies that would cause you to lose control. Deep within, you're probably quite a compulsive person with extreme energy levels. This was likely repressed by your parents or teachers, who continuously made you calm down as a child. Picture 8. Dissociative identity disorder. As a child, you may have been bullied, defamed, or traumatized by a teacher, parent, or other family member. This trauma may have made you subconsciously question your worth as a sexual partner. Now that you're older, you may try to emphasize your gender role to make up for these internal feelings. For example, if you're a man, you may act overly macho, and if you're a female, you may try to accentuate your femininity by being very flirty, sexy, or unnecessarily submissive. You may have a tendency to belittle other members of your sex that you don't think act manly or womanly enough.